welcome to another edition of the OG Gambling Syndicate. I'm your host, Joe Giglio, joined by Josh Goodson, RTP Mortgage, Bennett Johnson, Bennett at the Heister Automotive Group. And, well, guys, we made it. Gambling is now legal in the state of North Carolina. Of course, I'm now in D.C., where, excuse my language here, they have the most fucked up gambling laws in the history of the world. So I have every app in the history of the world on my phone, but I'm not able to use any of them. So that is the frame of mind how we're going to start our gambling podcast this week. It should be a celebration. It should be. Instead, I'm in gambling purgatory, but you're not. And hopefully back in North Carolina, you are doing the right things, gambling responsibly, all those things. We have golf this week. As we've talked before, I believe golf gambling is the best gambling because it's the best payout. You can risk a relatively small amount and still win a relatively big amount. That's good to me. Odds are good to me. So we have the players this week, as Joe Ovius is about to cringe as I say this, the official or unofficial fifth major, I should say. Wonderful event. I do wish all of the live golfers were there, maybe in the future, but they're not. And I want to start this week by saying we've been waiting for Scottie Scheffler to make a putt. He finally did. And I fear now, after he won last week at the Arnold Palmer, that he's about to rip off about 4 or 5 of these. That is my fear.
Or 12.
What, Josh, I know you're not a believer, but the truth of the matter is it's probably good for people who want to fade Scottie Scheffler, as we're already seeing this week in the odds at the players. But I just, once he gets a little bit of confidence, as we've seen before, he can get hot and just start winning tournaments. This is one he's won before. There's a correlation between this and Phoenix, where he's won before. Obviously, the Masters are around the corner, where he's won before. All 3 of those actually in the same year. So I feel like it's coming. But you're saying, Josh, it's still golf, and I shouldn't overreact to one win by Scottie Scheffler?
It's still golf. Well, I wouldn't say overreact. My biggest, and I would probably agree with you, it's not so much the Scottie effect as the other really good golfers we've been known to think are really good, like Rory, Xander, Cantlay, whoever you want to put in, Victor. They need to nut up. They haven't done anything this year, and it's not even so much Scottie being, because even before Scottie won last week, he was still doing the strokes gained approach and still just crushing everybody. He just wasn't making putts, and he finally did. And like I would tend to agree with you. I'm like, it's hard to kind of pick against him just because I haven't seen anything from the other guys. Rory hasn't really done anything. He had one back nine Saturday at Bay Hill. He shot 30, but consistently Xander's just kind of been in the nowhere, in the middle of nowhere. Homa, all the other guys we would expect to be competing with Scottie aren't doing it, and so now you're telling Scottie like, hey, just make sure you go beat. Shane Lowry's a good golfer, but make sure you go beat Shane Lowry on Sunday, right? It's like, okay, Scottie Scheffler's probably going to beat Shane Lowry on a Sunday, or make sure you hold off Russell Henley. And I know, Bennett, you're going to get the Russell Henley, but like, it's not like, hey, Scottie, go hold off JT, go hoved off
Rahm, or Cameron Smith, or Joaquin Niemann, who's probably the hottest golfer in the world right now.
Right, go hold off Victor. Even Victor Hovland, he had a stretch last year, the last 2 months or 3 months of the year, where like I thought he was the best golfer that ever played golf. He just
I picked him every week, like 7 weeks in a row. I picked him,
and he was making it look easy. And like even he hasn't been doing anything this year. So I'm still like, it's still golf, and it's like, you still got to beat 150 other guys and such, and it's really hard to do that and avoid someone else getting hot, but. It's hard to look against Scottie right now, especially with what he did last week on the putting greens, for sure.
I think the real difference here, though, Bennett, this wasn't like a Jordan Spieth-like performance where Scottie Scheffler made, 6,000 feet and made putts. This was simply him making the makeable putts, or enough of them, to really just run away at a difficult course against a difficult field.
He made all of the putts that we always want him to make.
Yeah.
But now that we've seen him make all those putts, we're like, well, maybe we don't want to see you make every single putt. Because when he's doing that, I don't think there's anyone that can touch him. To your point, Joaquin Niemann on Live Tour is probably the second best player, second hottest player in the world right now. But we don't get to see, like Josh was saying, we're not seeing Scottie have to hold him off on a Sunday. We're seeing him hold off Chris Kirk. And, you put Scottie Scheffler on a tee box on any hole in the world, and you put Chris Kirk on the same tee box, you're putting all your money on Scottie to win that hole. And he did it Saturday and he did it Sunday, and he might do it 4 days in a row at Players this week.
All right, well, let's get into our first round leader picks. They are brought to you by RTP Mortgage. Josh Goodson, rtpmortgage.com. You can call him at 252-361. My glasses right there. 252-361-1415. Again, that's 252-361-1415. rtpmortgage.com. All right, Josh, as usual, the price of houses is not going anywhere. So it's probably a good idea if you're thinking about it to have that conversation, realize what you can afford, and then go from there, as instead of just sitting around and waiting for the rate to come down.
Correct. Got 3 closings today. I'm actually missing one right now to do this. But it just goes to show in April starting to look good, starting to get a lot of activity. A lot of people are kind of understanding the your rent is always going to go up. Year over year, it's always going to go up. You know what else is going to go up? Home prices are always going to go up. Your interest rate, you lock in now, your interest rate won't go up. And if anything, you actually could potentially have an opportunity for it to come down, right, via a refinance, if the market presents itself like that. So if you just look at those dynamics, it's still a good time to buy if you can afford the payment and if you're motivated to own real estate. Still a great asset to have.
Yeah, the best thing to do is have a conversation to realize what you can and can't afford.
Correct.
Give a call 252-361-1415. That is rtpmortgage.com. All right, let's get to your first round leader picks, Josh. And as usual, these are picks that we're going to put $25 on. The odds that you see that payout would be for a $100 bet. So you just divide that by 4. Also, if the lead is tied, you divide the number of leaders by that payout as well. So you're hoping for an individual leader. That's for sure. You don't want that thing split. And you're also hoping for one of the deeper scratch offs to kind of come home as well. So let me pull up your picks. We can kind of go through them. I was bad mouthing Sung J M last week, to which he played poorly in the first round. But then you explained to me he did come home as a top 20 selection. So I should say both of us hit both of our top 20 selections last week. Brian Harmon was the easiest money in the history of golf. And then Wyndham Clark, also my pick from last week, I think will be one that you kind of go back to this week. So let's look at your picks here, Josh, for your first round leader bets. We'll start at the top. You finally did the one thing I really wanted you to do. You made them so that they're in order. I'm so proud of you. My brain feels so alive right now.
I did that for you, and we were close again last week. Sahith was in it, and then I think he doubled 17 and bogeyed 18 or something like that. We were in it. He finished 2 shots back. 2 shots back means nothing, except now on the DraftKings, I'm learning you can bet on first round leader top 5s and top 10s.
Ooh.
And I don't want. I have a system, and I feel like my system's pretty good. And I have a lot of guys who lurk and are there, but they never really come home. The top 5s and top 10s are going to be something I'm going to be interested in this week. But these are all outright first round leaders. This week is interesting. All the best players on the PGA Tour are in it. You mentioned the Scottie effect of how he is just kind of inflating the other odds of other people. So you're going to see a lot of names on here that generally I probably wouldn't touch in just a normal run-of-the-mill tour event because I wouldn't think their odds would be great. For instance, the first guy, Will Zalatoris, 4,500 plus 4,500 to be first-round leader. I didn't look at what he was last week, but for comparison's sake, I guarantee you that number was probably between 20 and 30 to 1. Smaller field, not as many golfers and such. So I think there's actually a little bit more value in the first-round leader plays this week. So Zalatoris is my first pick, 4,500. Played really, really well last week. He kind of seems like a guy that can get hot, and he did get hot. Friday and Saturday.
Speaking of guys who fixed their putter, by the way, or seemingly fixed their putter,
fixed the
he went
putter.
to the broomstick, went to the LAB putter. It's interesting, and obviously his back is more healthy. I think we're all kind of in love with Zally. He's one of my deeks. So
fix the putter, and he can just start. He can get really, 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 really hot, and so I like those odds. Hideki 50 to 1 plus 5,000. Hideki's been sneaky, like playing well. He got hot. What was it? Riviera on that Sunday, started pouring in birdies. This course is a true par 72, and back me up on this. It's a true. Every hole is eagleable, meaning you hit the fairway, you're gonna have a shot to get on the green and such. Now, obviously, you have to hit the fairway, and I'm not saying that, but there's not 650-yard par fives. That's just going to basically cut off half the field from being able to get home. So keep that in mind for this course. Shane Lowry played well last week. He's been playing well the last 2 weeks. He played well at Cognizant, played well last week. I like a guy riding on momentum. Big Tone, y'all don't like this pick. I know that. Big Tone has been
not playing well.
He is not playing well. I just like plus 6,000. Tony is a guy that still, if he gets it together, he is a guy that can go low because he's someone that's going to drive the heck out of the ball. And we just got to make sure his iron plays get within like 6 feet of the hole because he still can't putt. But if he's within 6 feet, if he has 15 6-footers, I'll take my chances. He makes 6 of it. That he takes 8 of them. Right? So that I just like the odds on Tony on this one. Tom Hoagie, he's a birdie guy. He's a birdie guy that can get hot. Again, you're trying to get the first-round leader. You're not trying to pick the winner of the tournament. It's nothing to do with consistency or anything like that. Sahith plus 6,000, 60 to 1. Sahith is in it, I feel like, every week. He's a guy that can get hot. I like the fact that there is the 4 par 5s, like I said, that you can get home and have some eagle opportunities. I like that for this tournament.
He also plays well in Arizona at TPC courses. He's a TPC player. This TPC track this week.
Correct. Keegan Bradley plus 7,500. Keegan's sneaky. I think just because people don't like him, you almost forget about him. But then when you peel back the curtains, you're like, wait, this guy was in it last year with Brooks at the PGA in Rochester. And he's just around, and he's a really good golfer. I mean, his results are backing it up too. The next little section, we call this the unofficial fifth major. Some people think golf kind of even starts now because you're getting into the golf season. Essentially because you're getting in now where from now until through July, we'll have a major every month. We have this one. We have Players. We have Players, Masters, PGA, U.S. Open, British Open. So this is the first big one. Of these next 4 guys, Eric Van Rooyen, Nick Taylor, Steven Yeager, Jake Knapp, these aren't your household names, but if you've watched any golf over the first 3 months of the season, these guys have been probably the best of that second tier. They've got wins. I think that's important. Eric Van Rooyen has a 6. He shot 60 a couple weeks ago. Nick Taylor has a 60 in the bag that he had a couple tournaments ago. They've all been playing well. They're all riding momentum, and their odds are really, really, really good to get a scratch off. 80 to 90 to 1. These are guys that have been playing well, have had success coming into the season. I like that. Then we get to the bottom grouping. Andrew Novak. He hasn't won yet, but he has been a guy that's been around on some of these lesser tour events as the year's gone on. He's a local guy from Raleigh, so we have to always have a local guy in there. Matt Kuchar is our old guy.
Old guy.
Yeah. Matt Kuchar is our old guy of the week. 130 to 1, has won the Players before. So he's course knowledge. Justin Suh's been sneaking around. I like the 130 to 1. There's not much on that. I just think he's been playing well for the most part, and 130 to 1's a good one. And then lastly, another local guy, Grayson. Grayson Murray, 150 to 1, has got a win this year. I just really like the odds on that. If he can get hot for a stretch and, give us a chance. And $25 at 150 to 1 would net something like $3,700. So I feel good about this week. I do feel good about this week.
I do like the odds. Yeah, I do like the odds. I think a full field helps. I think Scottie getting hot the way that he is helps. Of course, if he just doesn't run away with this thing, that's my concern, right? You like to tell me all the time, Josh, there's value and then there's actually winning. The value doesn't matter if you don't cash it, right?
Right.
So my SH Kim first round leader bet is only as good as whatever happens to it. It doesn't matter if it's great value. Charlie Hoffman, a guy I'm throwing in my own here. SH Kim and Charlie Hoffman were the two I took with my free bets on DraftKings. Use that promo code OG24 on DraftKings, by the way. Get yourself some bonus bets. And also, now that I've had every app on my phone, DraftKings is easily the best one. It's not even close. Okay. It's just the most user-friendly. It's the easiest one to use. And there's no nonsense. It's a gambler's gambler. As my friend Luke DeCock said, there's one site that is like for gambling beginners. That's the most popular one. And then there's DraftKings, which is actually the best one. So use that promo code OG24. All right, before we get to our top 20s. Charlie Hoffman was my other one. Josh, he had tied with Nick Taylor in Phoenix. I believe there's a correlation between this course and Phoenix. I know not all TPC courses are the same. I'm not going to give you John Deere stats or the Riverlands up in Connecticut. I'm just telling you that in my brain and the way that I've gambled before, I've seen a correlation between Phoenix and here. So I took a little Charlie Hoffman scratcher myself in the first round for this game.
Charlie goes off last tomorrow.
There you go.
Bad.
That's not good. That is absolutely not good. But before we get to our top 20 picks, Bennett Johnson, I don't know if you know this. You can sell your car to the Heister Automotive Group. I know Josh is about to make fun of me. The truth of the matter is I didn't know. I thought you guys only sold cars. I figured if you get trade in or something like that. But no. You will straight up in right quick buy a car and at a great price, I might add. So reach out 919-524-3348. That's the font I need, by the way, right there. That's a good size font right there.
That is, you can read that right there.
That is fantastic. 919-524-3348 or go to theheisterauto.com. Bennett Johnson from the Heister Auto Group. Appreciate you supporting us here at the OG Media Company. And now let's get into your top 20 picks for the players.
Ooh, I got the stats. Do we want stat time?
Yeah, I got to get the intern to work on some. It's time to do some nerdy golf with Bennett. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. All right. So something has changed with Data Golf and the golf predictions because, as we've been talking about, with live players out of the PGA Tour, a lot of the big names that have left were people that would have fallen into all of these categories of strokes gained here, official world golf rankings, a top 10 in the last month, all of that stuff. So it has changed a little bit of the predictability of tournament to tournament play. However, the players has been a very, very predictable event historically, and probably will continue to be just because it is a unique track. It does have similarities to, like you said, to other TPC courses, but it's a big payout event, a lot of money on the line. So traditionally, we don't see someone that you've never heard of, even if you're a casual golf fan, win there. Very rare. 38 of the 39 previous winners have played in the players before. 25 of the last 25, so the last 25 winners have made the cut in the previous players. So you don't just show up there like, oh, well, I've never played here before and play well. 15 to 16. We're going to zero in on 9 players that are going to win. One of these 9 will win this week. Yep, Josh should have called me before. Sorry about that. 15 of 16 have finished in the top 23 the previous year. 11 of the last 12 finished T22 or better in their previous event. Okay,
so there's a little bit of carryover from the previous week.
Right? You got to be playing well. You don't just show up after missing 3 cuts and play well, and that's all.
Big Tone is not going to be in this group, correct?
All right, the last 2 bullet points. 14 of the last 15 have had the early-late tee time. Statistically speaking, with the strokes gained, this is the most predictable strokes gained to the good and to the bad for the early-late. So if you're a late early guy, who did you say was going off last?
Charlie Hoffman, my guy.
Charlie Hoffman is not going to be Charlie Hoffman's week. So if you've ever been to Sawgrass, I'm not sure if y'all have, but other people that have, there is no mystery. After 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the winds just blow there every day. It doesn't matter what the weather is. The winds just kick up after 2. You don't want to be out there after 2. I'll give you the last thing.
Is,
But I did.
hold on, expand on that. Is the premise of that stat is because it's day one and they're getting the early that because in theory on day two they're getting the win that you're
See,
seeing.
on the premise there is,
But I guess the concept is if you played late on Thursday and you're already behind the 8-ball, you might be playing more aggressive on Friday and not performing. Is that kind of the concept behind that?
I guess number one, you want to get off. You want to start your tournament well. I mean, how many times does someone start +3 on Thursday and then they're done? So you got to get that 3-4 under start on Friday.
Your mindset changes if you play well. If you play bad on Thursday, your mindset changes because you're like, I have to go now, be way more aggressive than I probably would want to be, and that may not work out.
So this, I think, the next thing I'm going to tell you has played into this in the last 10 years. So this event, we're deep diving here, boys. This event is almost always the first event on tour with the time change, with daylight savings time. Okay. So this is a big TV event, has been for a long time. When the coverage switched full time to NBC, they wanted the top players in the game playing in that TV time of 4 to 7 p.m. at night on Thursday and Friday. So what they started doing was loading up signature players. They wanted Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth and Scottie's playing in that late TV time. So those guys were getting the worst weather draws. They went back to the traditional featured groups where you basically split the field, the big time players in half. Half the well-known players are going to have early, late. The other half will be late, early. Of course, for PGA Tour Live, TV purposes, they want as many big name guys to be split as possible. And they want to get big name guys to Saturday and Sunday. So if you load them all up with the late, early, you're not going to get the guys that you want to see on TV in contention late Saturday and Sunday. So the last one is 14 of the last 15 have been in the top 45 of official world golf rankings going into the tournament. With no live guys here, that should be an even more important factor because all of these guys that I'm going to tell you the 9 here are all in the top 45. And you as a golf fan, you're going to hear these names like that guy could win. Only 2 players fit all of those categories in the field this week. Rory and your boy, Russell Henley.
So that's your first top 20 pick is Russell Henley.
No, we're going to hear him later. We're going to hear him in the big time.
You got to add the other disclaimer. The only guy to have his last tour win was Mexico, right? Like you can maybe get Russell Henley, sure, cool.
It's Russell Henley. Yeah. 3 other guys fit 9 of the 10. Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Hideki, and then 8 of the players fit 8 of those. Scottie, Chris Kirk, Keegan, Patrick Cantlay, Nick Taylor, who's a been popular guy for us, Sanjay, who's Giglio's least favorite player on tour, Tommy Fleetwood, and Xander. So those are your guys. One of those guys is going to win this week. So naturally, I didn't pick one of those guys in my first top 20 pick.
Oh, yeah. I like this.
But somebody that has had success there, because all of those guys that I just named, their odds are, they're the favorites. Vegas knows this. Regular golf fans know this. These are the guys that are in contention. So if you're trying to get some quote-unquote value, you got to move down the board. So I went with Ricky at plus 450. He's played well there before. Obviously,
not playing well now, though.
He's not playing well now. But and he has a late early tee time.
Late, yeah.
So why I picked him, I have no idea other than I love Ricky Fowler at Sawgrass.
Yeah.
Hope for the best. Second, I'll go with number 2. Number 2. Oh, you have your
Puma?
Yeah, you can't see it.
Oh, you're repping for
definitely can't see
for the brand.
Yes.
Second. Plus 360, someone that Josh likes. He's just talking about. He's just a good player on tour. Keegan Bradley. He's 47th in approach. He was on our list, so he fits all the categories. 10th in approach over 200 yards. He's finished 5th there. He's got 2 other top 20s there. He's played 30 rounds at the course. He's familiar. I wouldn't say he's particularly playing well right now, but he's someone that every week, if you watch him play on a Saturday, Sunday, if you're just a casual fan, you're watching him like, hey, he looks like a pretty good player. I think people just don't like Keegan Bradley, so that's why he's not a very popular guy to be picked.
All right. We'll throw in my top 20s here before we get to you, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Andrew Novak. I like the value at plus 550. And I also would like to point out, while I did not know he was from Raleigh, you want to talk about somebody who's absolutely smoking blazing hot right now? It's Andrew Novak. you've been sniffing around him as a first round leader, and for good reason. If you look, his last 3 starts, T8, T8, T9, Cognizant, Mexico, Phoenix. Again, there's my Phoenix connection. 65 in the first round out at Phoenix. I love this value. I think it's a guy who's playing well, and it's hard. I think this is our ancillary effect from Rory and Scottie being in the field and kind of pushing the numbers to the direction that they are. So I like Novak. That's a good value at plus 550. The other one I'm going with is Sam Burns. Originally, I had this as my one and done play, and then you guys wisely and thankfully told me this is the largest purse on the PGA Tour this year. So this is not time to fuck around and find out. This is time to take a guy, especially after Matt Fitzpatrick put one in my ear. We'll get to my one and done selection. But Burns, to me, look at the 2 TPC starts this year. T6 at the Amex, T3 in Phoenix. I get it. He didn't play all that great in Arnold Palmer last week, but here's a guy I just likes to play in Florida, has won at Valspar. I get it. That's not a TPC course, but I think it's also decent value too at a plus number, plus 180. What is your top 20 picks for the players, Josh?
First one, I'm going to go back to the Sung Jae well.
Of course you are.
He played well last week, CJM, and just also it's kind of a value play. He's plus 280. I feel like with these top 20 plays, you don't take layups necessarily all the time, but don't overthink the sure things sometimes as well. Like just to get a win. I think
don't get too cute.
Do what?
Don't get too cute.
Yeah. Don't take Andrew Novak to finish top 20 in the players, basically. So,
that's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
So no, Sung Jae's my first play. Just he's finally playing well. Played well last week. So plus 280. The other one is a layup, but
wait a second. Just wait. You're going too fast. First of all, number 2. Did he really play well last week? I want to share the screen now because when I look, and this is why I was like, what are you talking about? He finished top 20, and I get it that he did 71, 70, 71, 74 on the PGA Tour. I understand where that finishes top 18. That's not a good week, in my opinion.
Well, because you're skewed by the Scottie effect.
Not even Scottie. I'm saying like you get dialed like what he did at the Amex. Again, there's a TPC course.
Last week was also hard. Last week was probably the hardest setup that they're going to see on the tour all year, outside of maybe the U.S. Open and such. So he finished T18. The results are the results, Joseph. Last week he finished top 20. That's all that matters.
Yes, they are.
So, took him again this week, plus 280. The other guy, plus 150. So the value, it's not like great value, but I think it's great value because I don't see how it doesn't come home. Will Zalatoris, top 20, plus 150. He just shows up in the big events.
Yeah.
This is the biggest event. I mean, this is one of the biggest events of the year. He has great form. We just saw it last week. I mean, I don't know how you can look at him and not think that he's not one of the few guys that has a chance to win the actual tournament. If I think he can win the tournament, like realistically, you take the plus 150 and he's your deke too. So another guy that I think is going to benefit from the fact that all of these par 5s are reachable if you hit the fairway.
Yeah, not a bomber. He's a ball striker.
And
that's a good pick. I like it.
I like him at plus 150.
All right, let's wheel back to Bennett for our winner picks at the players. Yeah, you already gave it away. And Russell Henley, he fits your statistical profile.
He hammers it home
either.
He's played 24 rounds here. He's got 2 top 5s this year. He's 37 strokes gained. A statistic that I like here is sand save percentage. You're gonna have the ball. You're gonna have the ball in the sand trap here. It happens every year. And actually, if you want me to continue with my deep dive, listen. Well, you know what?
The guy who's going to win is going to be in the sand all week. No, I don't think so.
Just wait. 5 of the last 5 have had 3 sand saves on Sunday. 5 of the last 5 winners. He's also wait. No, you're going to love this.
This is when data has like jumped the shark. Like,
no, wait, you're going to love this even more. Russell Henley is 4th on tour in distance from fairway edge. 4th on tour. So
there's our Houston Automotive Group call of the week, by the
that
way.
is
All right.
right on time.
You're going Russell Henley, and I spoiled it there with the X-Man.
The X-Man, and all jokes aside, Xander is set up to win this tournament.
You could talk yourself into it every time, and it just, unfortunately for him,
you think it's never going to happen.
And I actually thought last year in Cali was his real chance because he does play so well in his home state. But
Xander's in the Kent Lake, do not touch for winner.
Yeah, and I hate the number too, because it does feel like a little bit like the Bills being like a Super Bowl favorite. Like if they win, when they finally do win, you want a better payout than just 18-1.
18 is not good.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. I can get behind the Henley pick because Josh is mocking it. So I'm definitely and plus sand saves will clearly be.
I'm just surprised there's no data to back up. If you win the worldwide technology championship in Cabo, what does that mean for going?
It's a
correlation. You just got to finish top 5 there, Josh.
Yeah.
It's not about winning that tournament.
All right, Josh, your pick is Wyndham Park. You actually got a good value here.
Dude, he's a big game hunter, man. I mean, when the lights are on and the conditions are tough, and maybe not even when the conditions are tough, when the best golfers are around.
Yeah,
he's been there the last, more often than not in the last 2 years, and I think his number is just vastly disrespectful for what his output has actually been on the course. He's 50-1 to win the tournament. There's no reason. And I was looking at the odds earlier. There's no reason that his odds should be 50-1, and then Siwoo Kim's should be lower, or Tommy Fleetwood's, or Russell Henley for that matter, or Sam Burns. I like the value. He was there last week, at a tough course. He finished second to Scottie. He's won at Pebble this year. He obviously was a major champion last year. He's the sixth best player in the world, and according to official world golf rankings. Yeah. I know it can be a little skewed here and there, but I just like it. So Wyndham is who I'm going to pick.
Okay, he's playing well. I like the pick. I like the number. I'm not making a winner pick this week because I think Scottie Scheffler is going to win, and I would never recommend to take a pre-flop golf bet of plus 575. I mean, it's just stupid. So I will use, though, because you guys told me this is the largest purse on the tour this year, I'm going to take Scottie Scheffler. I do think he wins this week. And I desperately need his money now this week because Matt Fitzpatrick, I will never pick Matt Fitzpatrick ever again. I can't stand that. Whenever the next tournament is at that course at UMass or in Massachusetts where he wins every single time, I will take him then. But I have no idea what the hell happened last week to him. I'm very disgusted with him. So we'll just move along to your one and done pick, Josh.
Max Homa, it is the biggest purse. And so, yes, you would like to pick the winner this week. I would still kind of work off of the saving Scottie for one of the majors as well. So
yeah, and I get the premise.
Yeah, but at some point, if you have Scottie this week to win, it doesn't matter if you save him or not. You got the max output that you could, from the tournament. So I went to a guy who has some really good history here. Max Homa's finished top 15 the last 2 years, and just the thought of he could win, but if a top 15 with the purse of this size is going to get you a lot of money as well for these one and done type tournaments and such. So I don't foresee myself picking him necessarily in majors yet. So I'm not trying to save him for something else. And so I'm trying to use he's played well here the last couple of years, top 15. I expect him to be there again. So he would be my one and done play. All
right. And close this thing out, Bennett, with your one and done pick for the players.
Kind of the same premise. Do you want to use Scottie this week? There's a good chance he wins, or do you want to save him for the U.S. Open or the Masters? There's so much money this week. So I wanted someone that I'm treating this as a fifth major. It's the largest payout for one and done. I don't think anybody would be really that surprised if Justin Thomas won this week. So, but also you could really use the same argument for Justin. Do you want to use him this week, or you want to try to save him for the PGA that he seems to always do well at? So it's really hard on the one and dones on the big tournaments because there's only so many guys you really want to burn.
I also feel like it's a cheat code at this point. While the two tours are separate, I feel like you save all of the live guys.
Yeah.
You got BK in one of them. Neiman, we've been talking about how hot he is. We could probably use him at the Masters. I'm definitely taking Cameron Smith in Pinehurst. I already have a Cameron Smith ticket for Pinehurst. So, that's the way I kind of look at it. I'm mad because Jason Sobel had Scottie last week at the Arnold Palmer, and it was the same premise. Like he's like, it's a shit ton of money. He's going to play well. He didn't necessarily know he was going to win. He's like, but he's going to be in the top 10, and it's totally worth it. So
I like the JT play. That dude's he's sniffing around. He has the one missed cut at Genesis where him and Tiger were sharing straws and got sick or whatever. But beyond that, he is actually JT.
You got me on that one. You definitely got me on that.
Just kind of backing up, I like the pick of JT. I mean, he is starting to kind of get back to form, JT.
With Tiger sharing straws, can be any.
The funny part of that to me is the other guy that got sick was Patrick Cantlay, and I can't see three people more dissimilar hanging out together. So I don't know what restaurant they went to.
Yeah.
All right, guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like all of those good things. We are legal here in North Carolina now, so I am looking forward to all of our golf picks this season. And if you need a mortgage, hit up Josh Goodson at rtpmortgage.com. If you're buying a car or selling one, check out Bennett Johnson at the Heister Automotive Group. That's heisterauto.com. We'll see you guys next week with some more golf picks right here on the OG Gambling Syndicate.